And welcome in to Tennessee Tuesday. It's season 2, episode 1. I'm John Blankenship here with you this evening with my co-host Jason Boshears. We're glad to be back with you after a little holiday break and wrapped up our first season, Jason, into season 2. And tonight's going to be kind of just a relaxing night. We're going to talk about some things I think we accomplished this last season. If you want to call them accomplishments, we did something last season, and getting into our second. So that means, Jason, if we made it into the second season, we've done something right, right?
Oh, yes, sir. Absolutely. We have done something right. We've done something good.
Absolutely. Well, we've got several folks. We're going to go through the list here in just a minute as folks begin to join us this evening and watching around the Confederation and around the country and sometimes around the world for that matter. We are glad to have you here with us as we get into our second season of this program. What is Tennessee Tuesday? If you're a new viewer, of course, I'm the Tennessee Division Commander. Currently, Jason is the Tennessee Division Adjutant. We put this idea together that we need to develop beyond just old-fashioned communication. We're getting out using the tools that are available to us, such as YouTube. I've got a background in broadcasting. Jason's got a background in talking well. I'm not picking at you too bad, am I? But I think we flow good together, and this has been a fun program. We've learned a lot. We can't do it without our viewers and without our guests that we've had on, and we're going to have a good lineup of guests this season. So many things to talk about. We're going to go through some stuff tonight, and it's going to be a fun evening, so we hope you'll stay around with us for about an hour this evening and have a good show. And again, we'll bring in some of the folks that are viewing with us tonight. Jason, if you've got those ready, you want to bring those up for us?
Well, yes, I will.
Hello to a few folks. But before we do that, we need to go over our disclaimer. We like to have a lot of opinions, me and Jason do, but we need to tell you tonight that they are not anybody else's opinion but our own. Do you want to go through that full one, Jason?
Yes, sir, Commander, and thank you for this. The views and opinions that are expressed on this broadcast and on this program, they're not the views and opinions of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. It's General Executive Council. They're not the opinion of the division, any brigade, or any camps, or any subsidiary of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. It's just the views and opinions of the person that is expressing that view and that opinion. Yes, sir. Thank you for that.
You're right. That's our opinion only tonight. We hope you'll agree with some of those along the way. And we hope we make this show entertaining and informative as well. And Jason, we're getting through the holidays. Don't know about you. Hope you had a good time. We did around our house, small get-togethers, ready to be through with the holidays into the new year now. That's in the past. Good times, good with family and friends, but ready to get into the things we've got to do this year. It started out to be a busy year for me in our city. We've had elected officials, a new whole board of aldermen and mayor have come in. We've got a new mayor for the first time in 12 years. Our previous mayor retired. He didn't run again, so we have a new mayor in the city. So lots of changes as I work for the city of Humboldt in my library director job. So we're getting in the what's going to happen, how are we doing these things. So look forward to working with him. Busy there. And today, I've had a fun day. We've had a couple of board meetings, all kinds of stuff going on. And this afternoon, I got to speak to the local ladies book club. Wow. Jason, I'm sure you've spoken to some of these clubs like this. I've spoken to them several times, usually 2 or 3 times a year. This club goes back to the 1940s. It's called the 18 Book Club. That means there's 18 members. And the only way you get a new member is either somebody resigns or passes away. So very unique club and something, if they were listening to us tonight, I can pick at this. You don't see them talk a lot about books in the club. Now, they exchange books, but we don't talk about that. They have a speaker each time. And today I thought, well, usually I talk about something with the war between the states or local history, but I've had a new interest in the Second World War and learning more about that, becoming more knowledgeable, having a grandfather and great uncles that all served. All 5 of the Blankenship brothers from Humboldt, Tennessee served during World War II, and my grandfather was in the Navy/Marines. That's a long story for another night, as he served in the hospital corps at the time as a pharmacist. He was a 3rd mate there. So interesting how the Navy and the Marines connect together in that time. We got uniforms, let's say this, for both Navy and Marines. It gets confusing. But I talked about that and some of his trophies that those guys brought home, things he was in Japan after occupation. He was in Okinawa for a period of time, and he got to bring several things back. He got a Japanese rifle. It's got its bayonet with it. Um, there's a kimono that's out there. We have a couple of flags, Japanese flags, and a variety of other little artifacts and things that he had. So I took those today and talked about his service. And one that stuck out to me the most, Jason, I had to tell today, was a gentleman by the name of Raymond Hicks. I know I'm getting detailed right away here.
Go ahead.
And Raymond Hicks was from Humboldt. He was the exact same age as my grandfather. They were born January 27th, 1925. Were pretty close to best friends. Well, Granddaddy died in 1997, and grandmother said, "What do you want of Granddaddy's?" When he passed, I said, "I'd like to have his wallet then." So he gave me his wallet and what was in it, which I knew some of the things he carried around with him. He always carried his military ID, even though he would long never since needed it from World War II, but he always carried it. And he had a little newspaper clipping about 2 inches by 1 inch of a picture of Raymond Hicks, who was killed in May of 1944 in Italy, who was one of his best friends. He carried that from the end of the war when he came home in summer of 46 all the way until he passed away in 1997. So it shows how much he meant to him. And I knew that story and have still got it today. And the funny part of that story is about 2 years ago, a lady contacted me on the phone. She's got family from here, or her husband had family from here. Said, "I've got some images and some things I think should come back to Humboldt. You may want them or know somebody that does." And she wasn't technology savvy, so she couldn't send me pictures or scans of them. She said, "I'm just going to mail you the originals." Well, most of the stuff in there was Raymond Hicks. It was several pictures of him that are originals that they didn't have a need to keep anymore. So that was a pretty neat honor to be able to have those. Of course, he never married, had no children. So it was a kind of really neat time today to be able to share his story and Granddaddy's story and his time in the war. And something neat, Jason, is some of these artifacts, and I wish I had them close to me so I could grab and show you a couple of things. But we as kids, now this is for me, Jason, this is going back in the 80s, late 80s, when I'd be playing with these things. He'd let us get this Japanese rifle out and play with it. Now today, you probably wouldn't let kids play with guns anyway, but to be able to get now what is an artifact to me is priceless, that we played with it out in the yard. Me and my cousin would play G.I. Joe, so to speak. And some of these other things, these knives that he had from his time in the Navy and Marines, that we played with all that stuff, and it's still here today. And to have all of his uniforms, there's a total, I think, of 9 or 10 uniforms. He kept them all, stored them in a shed. It's amazing they're still with us. But to have all that stuff means a lot. And it shows where he stood. And asking him, Jason, before he passed away, I said, "Granddaddy, why did you serve?" Now, he didn't enlist. He was drafted in early 43. In early 43, when he was drafted, he said, simply, it was the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That says all I think we can say for that greatest generation. It was the right thing to do, and they sure did the right thing. And we're here because who we are today and because of them, those men. And don't forget about the women at home. That I think about my great grandmother, Jason, who had her 5 sons serving in the military all around the world. How she must have felt. There was one sister. She always said Aunt Flossie was her name. And Aunt Flossie said she would have served if they would have let her. And she was tougher than all those guys. She was one. I remember she come up, they would come up and grab your cheeks and squeeze them hard. You probably had an aunt or somebody like that to do that.
Oh, yes.
The greatest generation.
Come up and grab you like that. Yeah.
Well, there's a free story for you tonight. There's a little something tonight to start us out. So we remember not only our Confederate ancestors, but as we said, Jason, we talk about history in general, and that's one of those, the Second World War, talking about those men tonight that served. I was watching a documentary the other night on YouTube, and it was talking about Nazi Germany and some of the things that were happening there with our guys, where they were going in, and saw some of their graves. And I began to think about those things, and that some schools we know even teach that never happened. Yeah. The Holocaust wasn't real. There wasn't 6 million plus, and I emphasize that plus, killed in those concentration camps. And hearing those stories from those individuals that were there, speaking only of myself, I can't imagine what they went through. I have not had any kind of bad life and torment in any way what those individuals went through in those places. So we have a lot to be thankful for, and we should honor the greatest generation, just like we're honoring the Confederate soldier and what we do in the SCV, but we also honor those that served in the Second World War that we're talking about tonight. So there's your little something to start out the show. We've got a lot of folks joining us this evening. Jason, let's go and say hello through some folks tonight. I see several that have popped on the video with us tonight in our different places. You can watch us on Tennessee Tuesday on Facebook and SCV Chat, as well as both on the YouTube channels there. We're spread around for you to find us.
Yes, we are. And I just want to say, I want to thank you for talking about World War II, because you know the number of World War II vets, it's diminishing every day. We're losing them every day. And I knew them. And I had a conversation with a gentleman today, and it's a gentleman here in town in Mount Pleasant, and we were talking about this. Well, he's a little older than I am. And we were having a conversation about this, and I had an uncle, Howard Boshears. It is one of my daddy's older brothers. He was born in 1920, and he was a rifleman in the Army. He ended up getting captured in Italy.
Oh, wow.
And he ended up in a camp, and he survived. And when I got heavily involved in all this SCV stuff, he was still alive. Him and I had a conversation because his grandfather,
he
knew him, the Confederate veteran that I'm named after, Jason Wilkes Boshears.
Oh, wow. To get those stories. Wow.
You know, because Jason Wilkes passed away in 24. Now, of course, Uncle Howard was only 3 to 4 years old when he passed, but he remembered him. And you remember just how, you know, I talked to him and he talked to him, and you realize just how close we are and all of this. And I had 2 uncles that served, and I got to be, one of the blessed things that I got to do was to be their pallbearers. You know, for both of them, I got to carry them. And being a pallbearer is one of the most humbling things that you can be, because you're doing the last thing on this earth that can be done for them. And I tell you, did you want to pop that picture up?
But yeah, I want to share this one because it's on this computer that I'm at. This gentleman here that I was telling you about, Raymond Hicks. This is that image that was sent to me a couple of years ago. And he was just 19 years old when he was killed in Italy. He's buried in Italy. There's a marker there for him in that cemetery. I'm not going to try to pronounce that because I'll mess that up. But he's also got a memorial marker here in Humboldt. But he's one of those that we're talking about tonight. Made that ultimate sacrifice at just 19 years old, his whole life ahead of him. He lost his mom, Jason, when he was 13 or 14 years old. His dad was really not in the picture. Lived with his aunt, and he was one that gave his life during the Second World War. So that's the ones we're talking about tonight, like you're sharing. Go ahead, go on, continue.
Oh, well, I tell you, just I knew them, and they knew Confederate veterans. How you know, and that's the reason why that we want to talk about them. I want, you know, when you have a chance, you know, and you realize as we get older, there's going to come a time there's not going to be any more World War II people around.
And most of them are in their upper 90s now, or over 100. There's
yes, we're losing them every day. But we'll get to talking about all these people that have joined us, and I want to thank everybody for joining us. Johnny Jenkins from the General James H. McBride Camp in Springfield, Missouri. Thank you for joining us, Johnny. Appreciate you doing it. And then, as always, we have the great Michael C. Hardy. I watched his show on Sunday night, 7:30 Central Time. His show, Hardy on History, it is exceptional. And I tell you, Michael Hardy, thank you for joining us. Thank you for everything that you do. And he says this, and it's very true. All history is local. You were just talking about that gentleman, and that is local history. So all history is local, and we have to all talk about our local history, because the generals and all of them are going to be talked about. It's, you know, your privates, your lieutenants, your corporals, just the guy that was brought up down the street from you, guy that was brought up in your town or in your community or something like that, So you just need to, and Michael Hardy is very right about that. All
Yeah.
history is local. Thank you for joining us, Michael. And Mr. Hal Stedham,
Yeah.
joining us from Dr. J.B. Cowan Camp 155 out of Tullahoma. Thank you for joining us. And next time you see Dr. Bradley, tell him Tennessee Tuesday says hi, and we would love to have him on.
We sure would. He would be a great guest.
Oh, he would. I'd love to have him on. Man's a fountain of knowledge, and his way he writes, wonderful. And then we have Charles LeRae. Howdy, everybody. Welcome back and Happy New Year. Well, thank you for joining us, Mr. Charles LeRae. And then we got another Tennessee boy here, Steve Reed. And yes, pray that everybody had a wonderful and blessed year ahead.
Yeah, little tease there. Steve's got something great he's working on. We won't give that away, but he's got something good coming.
Yes, he does.
Very, very soon.
Yes, and I'm thrilled about that. But I like that. I pray that you have a wonderful and blessed year ahead. And Steve, we pray that for everybody.
It's Kyle.
Then we have, Kyle Thompson. Evening, gentlemen. Kentucky Division is here. Thank you, Kentucky, for showing up. Okay, Daniel Santiago, good evening. Glad you for joining us. Appreciate you joining us because you're a regular on here. Thank you for coming in every time.
David. Hey, David.
Yeah, hi to David. I know they have a couple of things coming up. They actually have a Lee Jackson coming up. And then he also had this to say. Excuse me. I said that in past tense. Excuse me. He had this to say. Congratulations on season 2 from Friends of Douglas Southall Freeman, and you can join them on Friday night. Look up Friends of Douglas Southall Freeman, and you might know this man. Yes.
I got to give Jim a call. He's been busy. We've talked about the Confederate veterans here in Rose Hill and Humboldt. He's working on that list, and he's been busy today, I know, working on that list and getting it organized. We've done some site visits and learned some things we didn't know. Found another veteran recently, Jason, we didn't even know was up here.
Oh, wonderful.
And he's identified with a more newer marker that says where he served. I don't know how I've missed that over the past 30 years of going through that cemetery, but we found another one.
That's the reason why you bring extra eyes in and you bring people in and you always go back. I see something in different cemeteries I've been going in my life, and I go, wow, that's good. Thank you, Jim, for doing that work. Yeah. Cemetery work is important work. We have to remember them. Daniel Santiago, yes, thank you. Want to say appreciate you coming in. Michael Workman, out of the Rawdon Spears camp down in Summertown. Appreciate you joining us, Michael. Good evening, compatriots from the Lieutenant James T. Woodard camp, number 1399 in Warner Robins, Georgia. Mr. Darren Morgan, appreciate you joining us. And David had this to show when
it here. Yeah.
You said that he had
Marine Force pharmacist mate, aviation course. That's along the right lines. That's been interesting to learn about. I want to throw this picture up since he mentioned that. Yes, here's my grandfather I was talking about, Charles Eugene Blankenship. There he is, and one of the unit. Now you notice there he's wearing a Marine uniform. You see the insignia on his jacket there. But some of them he's in his Navy uniform, so that's a good one of him. I've got 10 or 12 pictures. He must have liked having the photographs made because he's got one of him in all of his. I'm going to show you before we jump ahead. Let me see if I can do this here, Jason. There's another photograph that I put together recently, and I've got it framed. This is before it was framed. This is just the layout here of it. And let's add this one. This is Granddaddy, of course, in the center, and there are all his brothers, the other 4 brothers. In the order of their ages. Of course, now it's framed looks a little more professional, but that's just the layout there of his older brother, Dossie, and his next older brother, JT, and then him, and then Albert, and then Bobby. And you can see them all in their photographs in their uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
So they all served.
Yeah, I noticed Bobby's tie is straight. JT and your grandfather's, they're a little crooked on that.
Theirs are a little off like that. In a lot of Granddaddy's uniforms, his ties are off. I don't know if maybe there's a reasoning behind that.
Yeah, maybe right-handed versus left-handed, and
it could be. And they also turned them. You can see how they're sitting in the photograph. Maybe the turning of them there. Of course, Uncle Dossie there on the left. I don't know a whole lot about each one of their service in detail yet. I need to do some more research on that. And they're all gone. They're all deceased. Uncle Bobby was the final one to pass away there on the end, who was born in 29. Uncle Dossie there on the left, he was in the Army, and he spent a good bit of time in Germany.
Okay.
And then you can see the others. So pretty neat to have all those images. We've got a lot of that stuff. They all kept everything, and finding something new from cousins all the time that have had stored away. What's most interesting to me, all this stuff, Jason, that Granddaddy brought home with him, all these artifacts and trophies, as most of them would call them, that he has. I've got his small foot locker that's no more than, I mean, you can literally, that is it. And what you're seeing there, and how he got all this stuff home and he can carry that rifle home. I was still amazed in talking to him about that they were able to bring all these things home, because it couldn't have all fit in that little foot locker.
Wow.
But he said they threw their rifles in the ocean before they got back to mainland here in the U.S. I don't know if that was something they were informed to do or just some kind of thing they did, but he kept his Japanese rifle, but threw his and several others overboard. So I don't know if that was some momentous reasoning or why they did that, or they had to do that.
Yeah. You know,
Randy always would tell about these things, Jason, of how he got them. And let me see if I can show you. I know I'm showing you a lot of pictures tonight, but sometimes that kind of tells the story. I don't know if I can put my hands on it here fast enough. Let's see. This is live video at its best when you're doing these things.
And Charles LeRae had this to say, you know, David Pope never take our corpsman for granted. Yeah. And Charles LeRae and David Pope are going back. Hey, David, Charles on here says he's looking forward to seeing you this weekend. And you might need your winter coat. Yes.
Yeah, you may. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Okay, go ahead. I'll go through some of these, and when you got it, just pop it up, and I'll
keep going here. I'm going to bring these couple of these images up. This is just, I'll show some of this stuff. This is a photograph from today of it. I don't have the knife close to me. But there's his U.S. Marine Corps knife. That's a very common knife. Most people familiar with it. Now, Granddaddy would tell what he did with all these, and some of the Japanese stuff that I've got here. He says he took that off of a Japanese soldier when he killed him to get it. And then Granddaddy would later tell us, well, he didn't really. He got it at a souvenir shop.
Mm-hmm.
But he told the grandsons. But that's that knife there. Yes. Keep going through some of those comments we got this evening, and I'll pull some more up here.
I'll do that. I want to thank Tom Wood from joining us from the Hatton Camp in Lebanon, Tennessee. Thank you for that. And David Daniels, my Uncle Comer Daniels, fought against the Germans in an anti-tank command in World War II.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And Charles LeRae, it's always a great time to say amen.
Mm-hmm.
Gainsboro Invincibles, Richard Garcia has joined us. And David Daniels, Lydia's great uncle, First Lieutenant Frank, and I'm not going to try that last name, laid in the jungles of Papua New Guinea for over 72 years as a mission and action fighter pilot, and he's now in Arlington.
Oh, wow.
That's going to be a wonderful story, and I'm happy to know that they recovered the remains.
Yeah, that's very important. So here's another image. This is not the best image of it, but it was quick for today just to have this for reasons of speaking. There's that Japanese rifle. The barrel's about 19 and a half inches or so long, so it's a short rifle. And it's got its serial number and all that has been ground off, and doing some research on it today. Again, I'm far from an expert on these by no means, so don't take what I'm saying is everything is just perfect. But of course, those were in occupation. Of course, when they confiscated all these weapons, those were filed down. So Granddaddy got this probably at some kind of, he ended up telling us most stuff came from souvenir shops. Now, I don't know if he got the rifle that way or as the military confiscated this stuff, if he got it that way, but that was the rifle that he brought back. And just think, me and my cousin played with that outside and played G.I. Joe with that. You never think about doing it today with that. I'm like, when my son wanted to touch it, I'm like, nah, don't touch it. Just look at it.
Yeah. Well, when you said that earlier, the first thing I thought of was Jack Henson's rifle. As you know, that was passed down through the family, and they shot that rifle up until, you know, the gentleman who has it now. It wasn't anything for them to take, and we're talking Jack Henson's sniper rifle, for lack of a better term. This thing, they were taking it out and they were shooting it. It was a
Yeah.
normal occurrence for them. And these same things that you're talking about.
And yeah, they used them. Now, I
Yes.
know Granddaddy said he never, after he never fired it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's been looked over. It's in really good shape. And here's one of those little collapsible cups he had. There's a couple of one of them's got his name inscribed on it, but there's those they could eat their rations out of course, drink out of. And again, grandmother, after he was gone, I remember us drinking out of these things in her kitchen.
Wow.
And who would think now, you'd think, well, that's an artifact. You don't want to do that. But I mean, we got to play with them. Granddaddy he gave me many of his hats, and I could remember wearing those. There's pictures of me in them. Now I think, wow, it's an honor to have all that stuff.
Yes. Yes. See, and all that stuff's being passed down to us. And that's the reason why all of these stories need to be told, like what you're telling here, because now there's a recording of this. So at some point in time, there's a Blankenship, could be 5 generations down, is going to see this YouTube video and is going to see this.
And then there are some of these things. Here's another interesting image. This is a Buddha here you'll probably recognize. And I don't have it in front of me where it's located. It's a very popular one. It's from the 1200s. And Granddaddy's in that picture with 4 other guys that he served with there in Japan. But there's several of them. This is the one that I can show to the public or show on video. There's some other ones that are quite interesting. They're giving certain signs to Mr. Buddha there. And some other things that we're going to be a little reserved and conservative. We won't show those images, but tells you what they thought about that time in the war. And this is probably one of them's day. I think it's early 46 is when these were taken, because they were there. At least he made it home. I think it was in May or June of 46.
Okay.
So this was still been in early 46 when he's there.
Okay. So he was occupied. He occupied. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Something really interesting is we talk about technology, Jason, and how important technology is and how it can help us or can hinder us. It can be a blessing, be a curse. And researching some of this stuff, like some of these weapons that's not my specialty. Just taking a picture of it and doing a Google search, reverse search with the image, and the AI technology can tell you so much about this weaponry and some of these patches and metals, what they represent. Super helpful. I've learned a lot about just this morning about that rifle I didn't know about.
Yes.
But use technology for a blessing. It can be a real help.
It can be a help. It sure can. And it can be a hindrance as well, but it does help. Yes. We'll continue on. Jeff Plummer, Delaware Grays here. Thank you for joining us, Jeff. David Pope. And I was reading this. It's not been too many years since the last U.S. WW1 veteran, Frank Buckles, passed. The World War II veterans organizations are disestablishing fairly routinely now because there just aren't enough men to sustain the organizations. Now, that happened, and we've read often about, the last time the Confederate soldiers got together. The last time Forrest Escort got together. There's an account of that. It was 3 of them. They rode up. They went inside a county courthouse. They met very briefly. They come out, got on their horses, went around, and rode off. So this time has its way of passing. And thank you for saying that, David. And then Michael C. Hardy had this. World War II on the home front is a fascinating subject. Aircraft warning, service observation posts, scrap drives. Yes, and the scrap drives really if you're an old car nut like I am, the hardest thing to do is to find Model T, Model A parts, original parts, because all of those were surrendered, especially all of those in the early 30s. If it wasn't driving, they would take and make it part of the scrap drive.
Well, that's the way it happened here, Jason. Our local cemetery had many of those old wrought iron fences, and they came and took them in the early days of the war to melt all that stuff down.
Yes, we did. And you had the POW camps. There was one real close to where I live in, and just down the road in Summertown. And during the war, they took the POWs and built bridges And there's a whole story about that here just in Mount Pleasant. Someplace there should be a list of 10 men recommended by the county civilian defense coordinator to the FBI to report on disloyal local citizens. This is for every county. I never knew that existed.
Interesting.
Now I've got to go looking. Now, Michael Hardy, you've made me go do research. Thank you for that. And Donald Gaines, good evening, gentlemen. Donald, thank you for joining us. David Daniels, Tech Sergeant Carlos Daniels, another uncle, fought in the Philippines, passed in 58. I have the flag from his casket.
Wow.
Oh, that would be good.
Just think how many artifacts, we call them artifacts, Jason, that are out there. All of us have collected from. I mean, I've got some World War I stuff that come from a family member. How much of that stuff is out there? You know, we talk about war between the states, Civil War, whatever you choose to call, how those things are collected, but we forget about some of the modern time stuff that's still modern, that we need to be collecting these things and preserving these artifacts as well.
Yes, and we have the TMCA show that happens, Tennessee Military Collectors Association. They have a deal twice a year up in Franklin. And the knife that you showed earlier, I have purchased them up there. I have purchased them up there. So that's getting to be, but they're all artifacts. And at some point in time, somebody's going to look back and say, that was 150 years ago. Now we just see it as.
And we're in the 80-year mark and 80 plus years now. I mean, look how old these things are getting now.
Yes, you got that right. And of course, Mr. John R. Massey himself, James Patterson had this to say: stand when you pray, kneel to God, but never dogs like these. Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. Yes. Everybody say hi to Kevin. Glad Kevin's joined us. Wow. I have never been there, but I would love to go to Normandy.
Oh, I would too.
That would be one of my bucket list items.
Let me show you another image here, Jason. These two brothers here, Milton and Cecil Kennington, they were both from Humboldt, and they were killed on the Arizona there at Pearl Harbor on December the 7th. Two brothers both killed. It's an interesting story. I've got two of their letters they sent home, and one of them arrived when it arrived here. It arrived on December the 7th, 1941. Before, obviously, they knew that the attack had happened. So it's pretty neat to see the date on when that arrived home. But they also had an older brother who was Lloyd Kennington, who was in World War I. He was killed, I believe it was in France. And he was also killed. So that family lost three men, three young men. And many descendants around. I've got several photographs of them. And well thought of. Both two young men gave their lives at Pearl Harbor.
Wow. Humboldt brothers killed on the Arizona. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for sharing these and telling these stories, because this is what needs to happen. You know, sometimes maybe once a month, this is what we do is we come on there and just say, okay, we're going to tell family stories, and we're going to tell local stories. You know, we're going to, like this POW camp that was near me and the bridges they built. I could come on here and I know where they are. I've been to them, you know, and take some pictures and talk about them. And let's make history local.
I mean, that's where it connects with. That's where we're connected. Well, like you said, we hear about the generals and so forth, but the local soldier, the common private soldier that made that sacrifice too. Yes.
And, you know, the generals are going to get talked about. Let's talk about our ancestors. Now, yes, you could have general ancestors that are generals, or, you know, but how about let's talk about the guy that was just right up the street. And Ronnie Nichols, I'm looking forward to seeing y'all this coming weekend. I'm going to be down at the J.J. Dickinson camp down in Cocoa, Florida, speaking at their Lee Jackson, and looking forward to it. And all right, everybody, and that's the 5th Brigade Mississippi Division SCV.
Yeah.
You reckon that might be Harrison Dawes?
I was going to say, he was almost going to join us tonight, but I think he's been pretty busy too.
Yes, he has been. He has been. Let's
Jason, we have
see.
so many comments tonight. I'm excited to see all the comments, and folks, I
Yes.
hope they're enjoying this. I want to show one more image here. We're going to jump back to the Confederacy a little bit. Then we probably need to take our first break and talk about our sponsors, and we'll go through some more of your comments tonight too. This image is of the monument. Many that have been to Humboldt, been to the reunion, have seen this one. But what's most interesting about where this image that was sent to me several years, it's probably in the 50s, I would say, by the background. The cannon is still behind it. And you can see the name there at the bottom of who that came from. Her grandmother, Bessie Forrest Laxon. So you probably recognize that name connected with the Forrest family.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in there.
Wow.
Of course, they say General Nathan Bedford Forrest. I think it says monument or something, the full picture that's written out. But obviously, that's not the general on top. It's an infantry soldier, but it was erected by the local chapter of the UDC, which was named for the general. But that's after it was moved, probably not too long. It was moved from Main Street to the park in July of 49. So that base looks still pretty new. So it's 1950-ish, maybe shortly thereafter.
And one of them old Polaroids, you got to love them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go ahead and pop this up because Jim Collinsworth had it in it, honoring all our veterans tonight. And I don't know that we had that as the plan to start with.
No, we really had no plan to go with this like this. It just kind of went this way, and it's taken its own form. And I think the viewers tonight seem to be enjoying it. They're commenting along with us. And I like having this kind of discussion. This is just old-fashioned history talk, sitting down and just talking.
Well, you know, that's one of the things, the whole purpose when SCV Chat started was to make it about guys sitting around, girls sitting around talking about their ancestors and history. And Daniel Santiago, thank you. You're welcome. Appreciate you joining us. And Charles LeRae, a corpsman assigned to Marine Corps units are authorized to weigh the Marine Corps Alpha uniform. I guess it's the uniform with Navy rank on the sleeve, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Well, David Pope called that a half Windsor knot when we were talking about the
tie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're half Windsors. Let's see, and Tom Vernon. Tom, thank you for joining us. My wife's uncle was a fighter pilot in World War II. Mac McCall of Hendersonville, North Carolina, was Gabby Gabrisky's wingman. I have not heard that name in a while. Gabby Gabrinsky. Okay. He flew his fighter between. Wow, I went dead. Are we back?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay. Well, my screen went black. I don't know what happened to it. A German between Gabrisky's fighter and a German fighter, and Mac's plane exploded. Gabrisky came to see his mother after the war to let her know that her son was really gone.
Wow.
And Tom is with Zebulon Bay Advanced Camp 15. And I've gone and visited that camp before. It's a very good camp. But I don't know what happened to my screen. All of a sudden it went black. So Jason Scott, I have a couple artifacts from World War II. I have a sword my grandfather brought back from Japan. Wow. That's wonderful. Tom Wood, my uncle received a Silver Star for his actions in World War II.
Wow.
He has the newspaper article.
Very nice.
Yes. Jason Scott, thank you for joining us with the Ike Stone Camp 564. And David went 6.5 or 7.7. He's probably asking the caliber of the rifle.
I think it's 6.5, I think. I don't have that. I'm sorry, I don't have that info in front of me to tell you for sure. I'm still learning about that rifle.
Yes. And it didn't look like an Akira rifle, but it could have been. They picked them up for a lot of places. And I agree with Rich. It was a nice rifle. Congratulations on that. And greetings, Derek Glover. Thank you for joining us from the James M. Softly 929 out of Jamestown. Hey, y'all had your camp meeting tonight. Appreciate you joining us.
Well, let's do this, Jason. Let's go ahead and take our first break. I think we need to do that. We're about 7:41. We do need to mention our sponsors tonight. Man, I told you, I said we'd keep it to an hour tonight. We may go longer than that because we've still got a lot of comments we want to bring up on screen after this break. And Jason, let's mention our sponsors tonight that are making this show possible and all the programs you hear on SCV Chat. We thank all of those folks, and you see those running across the screen now. We thank those individuals for joining us on Patreon. And You can go to scvchat.com and learn how you can become a Patreon member and to be one of those names that you see at the bottom and support the efforts here with SCV Chat and, of course, Tennessee Tuesday as well.
Yeah, and I want to thank everybody who has done this. You can go, and I'll pop this link for you to be able to go to scvchat.com, or you can go to the Patreon and go to SCV Chat, in which you can sponsor this. And, you can give, and you've heard us talk about the different levels they have here, from the $2.50 feed a moose level to the $10 level to the $30 a month level. $30 a month level is the merchandise level. And you start getting stuff come in. I've had something come in, and it's actually pretty cool what you end up getting from them. Wasn't a shirt or anything like that. Yeah. Just a really nice Patrick Claiborne decal, which I thought very was nice. Good. And then you have the $80 a month level. And that $80 a month level, that's where you're actually sponsoring shows. And this gentleman, Dr. Chris Cummings, because you've been to him before. I'll let you speak about him.
Yeah, actually, Dr. Cummings spent some time in Jackson, Tennessee for a while practicing here. We had a lunch a couple of times together, and longtime SCV member, has served in many different roles in the SCV, and of course is in Mississippi now and continues his practice there. And I understand that he is really good at solving knee issues and knee pain. So the older we get, we all start to deal with that. Gentlemen and ladies all deal with it. So go see him, Dr. Cummings. We appreciate his sponsorship of SCV Chat and also Tennessee Tuesday.
Then you want to take us away on commercial break?
Let's do that, Jason. It's about 7:44 Confederate Standard Time here on Tennessee Tuesday. This is season number 2, episode 1. We've got more content coming to you all season long, and we're going to talk more about what's coming up, more of your comments as well. Right after this, we'll be back on Tennessee Tuesday.
There is a place nestled in the rolling farmland of southern Middle Tennessee. A home constructed in 1837, nearly lost to the ravages of war. Saved by a servant and a Confederate general. A place where families loved and lost. If walls could talk, what stories could be told? If a place, a home, can feel love, loss, pain, surely this is one of those places. Nearby is a more recent structure, and inside are the stories of heroes and heroines, stories of battles won and lost. Stories of sacrifices made by the people of its native soil. A place that will tell the true and complete story of the Southland and the war fought for its freedom. From the causes that led to the conflict to the modern-day struggles to protect Southern history. Historic Elm Springs and the Confederate Museum at Elm Springs are the general headquarters for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. A place where the story of the Southland and its historic struggle is preserved and told. Come and discover your history.
And we're back on Tennessee Tuesday, SCV Chat. John Blankenship and Jason Boshiers with you this evening, having good conversation. We've talked a lot of World War II era conversation tonight, and many comments and folks that have joined in with us. We do have some events to talk about here in just a few minutes. I see, and we'll go through some more of those comments if you want to, Jason. David Pope mentioned about that rifle we showed, or that Type 38 is correct. He is correct on that. I just didn't have that in. And again, I'm just a novice on weaponry, but it's been fun learning about that. And I know there were millions of those made, but it's neat that Granddaddy brought it home. And somebody commented on there, and we'll see that comment up here in a minute. I believe Tom Vernon did, about his dad bringing back a Japanese rifle and finally just left it and got tired of carrying it around. I'm sure that was a job too. And Granddaddy's route home to have to carry all that stuff he did. But I'm so thankful he kept it and of his time in the service.
Yeah. And, you know, we're all novices about something. And even something that you know a whole lot about now, at one time we were all novices. But whatever has your attention, get it, you know, study it, learn it. And I've seen a few of these M1 carbines David Daniels is talking about. Unknown on the M1 carbine carried by Private Lonnie Smith that he carried on the beaches of Normandy. He was in an engineering unit. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine a rifle coming from Normandy? And Elliot Jackson has joined us. Thank you for joining us, Elliot. Good to see you. Good to see you. Glad you're joining us. He does a whole lot of work up there at Elm Springs and all for the Tennessee Division. Very good man.
Absolutely does. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And David Pope has a very good point here. Basically, we're the World War II vets now. Where we are is where the World War II vets, where the South were the Confederate veterans about 1930 or 1940.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That same era, the age they were then is the age these World War II veterans are now.
Yes, sir. You're correct. And James Patterson pops this up here. April 25th, 2026, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Confederate History Month commemoration, Lincoln County Courthouse. Senator Janice Bowling will be the speaker. A memorial service will be held at the Confederate Monument. Confederate reenactors are welcome to participate. So everybody grab your rifle and see you there.
Yeah, Jason, let me comment there. I'm glad James said that because he needs to be watching his mailbox in the next few days, probably this week. There's something coming to his house. I'm not going to tell him what it is, but they probably don't have my name on it where it came from. But there's something coming to his house I think he might enjoy. And it kind of goes along with Fayetteville.
Oh, good. Now, the way you're smiling, it's got to be a good
I think
thing.
he'll like it. I think he'll enjoy that. I didn't need it, but I got it for him. I think he'll enjoy it probably more than I will.
Yes. And David Pope also had this to say. The Confederate veteran quit publishing in 1932 for a good reason. Yes. And Jason Scott joining in here with us.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Workman. And he is right. Those camps are right by his house down there in Summertown. And then Sean Hill coming to Gap Forest, Oklahoma. That's a big deal over there. Yes. And we have had Bob Hoball joining us from greetings from the 8th Brigade of Florida Division. I hope you're doing well, Bob. Hope to see you soon. Michael C. Hardy. I found some North Carolina FBI list in the governor's papers.
Interesting.
And archives in Raleigh. You might want to check in Nashville. Thank you for that lead. Thank you. Let's see. Kevin Ennis. Is there a Nashville camp contact here? I'd like to try to attend the next meeting. There's 2 camps in and around Nashville. You have the Joe Johnson camp, number 28. And then you have the Sam Davis camp, 1298 out of Brentwood. I don't see anybody on here, but I'll get your information, Kevin, and I'll communicate with you on here, and we'll get you to a meeting because they're 2 good camps.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Derek T. Glover, seeing a photo of my SCV ancestor from 1861 blew my mind.
Yeah, that's amazing to get to see those images of the men themselves.
I have no image of Jason Wilkes Bowshears. No image of him.
Yeah,
wow.
That's tough. So I'm thankful for the ones I do, but there's many we don't.
Yes.
You just want to know what they look like. You just want to be able to see them.
Tom Vernon joining us again. My dad, 32nd Division, went to Australia in April of 1942, invaded New Guinea and fought at Luzon and Leyte Gulf in the artillery. He didn't come home till late in 44. His brother was a captain who ended up in Germany. I have a German bayonet Herman brought back from Germany.
Oh, wow.
That's got family ties to it. That's what makes it special. And when you pass it along, please make sure you tell the stories, because I've gone into homes before and people are just, and you don't know, what is this? Where did it come from? So nobody in the family knew anything about him, no relics. My grandfather just gave his Korean uniforms to my aunt. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's
I'm going to show
see.
you another image, Jason, here. This is another
Yes.
one. We're talking about Granddaddy here in his Marine uniform. Here he is in his Navy early on in the war. And if some of the ones that you that are watching tonight know my son Colton and how much they favor in this time period from now to then, that would be Granddaddy's great grandson,
Mhm.
and how much they look alike. They're built the same way as well. But he was tiny. His draft card, he was 5'5", 110 pounds. I didn't inherit that. Granddaddy was always skinny his whole life, but I didn't get that part. Like I came from the other side of the family. My mom's mother is the heavier side. That's where we came from.
Well, I'm 5'5", but I'm a long way from the 110. That was way back in grade school or somewhere like that. Boy, 5'5" and 110. That would have been about the size of a Confederate soldier. They were between
they were
5'5"
very
and 5'8",
small.
and from 110 up to 130 pounds. That's the reason why Forrest was such a towering man at 6'1" and 185. Imagine walking up to 5'5" and 110 pounds. He towered over him. And Tom Wood had this to say: while stationed in Europe, I have seen many machine gun nests, bombed out bridges, and destroyed buildings still exist.
Oh, wow.
Wow. David Pope, Kabreski, that was mentioned earlier, was a P-47 driver. Then Jenny McCaleb, thank you for joining us. Good evening, gentlemen, from Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah, glad you're with us.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Beautiful city. Derek T. Glover, very nice. Grandmother had a newspaper article about my great-great-uncle, Private Raymond Estes of Wilson County, receiving his Silver Star. He was killed in action in Florence, Italy, and my brother has it now.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And Al Stidman, yes. I think Senator Bowling represents y'all down there, and she is a very good one. And we do need a lot more like her. And that was where you are talking about David Pope being a Type 38, being
Yeah,
a
that's it.
6.5.
Yeah, he's right on that.
And it's the Oriska rifle. And then Sean Hill, some point son is a common boat action Japanese. Well, we're getting a lot of comments on this.
Yeah,
This
folks
is
really
fun.
enjoying that. We'll have to show more, bring some more stuff out like that. That's always fun.
Yes. Tom Vernon talked what you mentioned. Dad brought back a Japanese rifle as far as San Francisco, a 25 caliber. Said he got tired of carrying it and left it there. Wow. Well, he'd already been traveling a long way with it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a job to carry it.
And everybody we're just going through the comments on here. The GIs either love the M1 carbine or hate it. Pawpaw was a field artilleryman, had a M1 carbine and hated it. I have shot an M1, and let me tell you, she kicks. I'll tell you that. Hey, Sean, appreciate you joining us. The Florida man has joined us.
Yeah, glad to have
Appreciate you
him on
joining us,
tonight.
Sean, and hope you have a great show tomorrow night. David Pope killed my first deer with one when I was 10 years old.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
was that the M1 carbine or was that the 6.5 Oriska? And David Pope, the obsolete 3220. David's having a ball keeping us up with information.
Boy, he knows all this stuff.
Yes. And David Daniels, M1 carbine is a light, easy to handle semi-automatic rifle chambered in .30 carbine, originally designed as a defensive weapon for support troops. I tell you, I recently picked up a 308 that was a jungle carbine. Excuse me, it's a 303 British, wasn't a 308,
Sure.
303 British. And let me tell you, that thing kicks like a mule. The thing I cherish is my grandfather was in Korea, and I have his VFW hat that he wore. Sean McFall tells us that. That's wonderful. Let's see. Adam Southern has this to say: at 5'5", 110, he weighs the same as my right leg.
That's about true for me. I'm the same way right now.
Yes, I'm familiar with that. Sean Hill, I was a WW2 collector and historian first. I tell you, a lot of us started with World War II because they were our relatives. They were our uncles. That's how we found out about it and knew about it. And Jason Scott, you can pick them up, go to a TMCA show, and they have M1s for there. But let me tell you, they are not cheap.
Oh, no.
They're not cheap. When you start picking up World War II rifles, especially if they're in shootable condition, they're not cheap. Yes. And
Jason,
David, go ahead and jump in.
Let me show you this one here. I'm pulling it from my Facebook page, so don't worry about all the text over there. I'll tell you about it. That gentleman there I'm with, who passed away just a couple of years ago now, Mr. William McKinley Dennis, or known as Kent Dennis. He was one of Humboldt's last World War II veterans, and he passed away a couple of years ago. In that photograph, he was 97, and he was 102, 103 when he passed away. Still lived alone and still drove for just about 6 months before that. And there's a photograph of me and him. We got to sit down, and I did 5 of our World War II veterans that were left at that time. And they did videos telling about their time in the war. And his story, and I'll share this sometime, the video, it's on YouTube if you want to go find it. And to listen to him tell his story, he's an African-American gentleman here. And as when you look at modern standards today, when this thing's talked about, the way he describes it is not politically correct. But he says he was one of the first that came in after the bomb was dropped in Hiroshima in 1945. They sent these black troops in that he was a part of to kind of clean up. And he would tell some of the stories, that some of the things they witnessed. He said there would still be Japanese soldiers around, and when they would go to hide, as they were cleaning up things in bodies, they hid in the back of some old wagons under dead bodies. Just amazing to hear him tell those stories, and that he was somebody. He would kind of he had a very dry sense of humor and very calm as he told these things, but very powerful to hear those stories. And he would talk about the radiation. He said everybody always said that the radiation was going to get him. He wouldn't live a long life. Well, he outlived everybody, 103 years old. So he would finally say he thinks the radiation helped him.
My stars. I can't imagine what he went through going in. And you said that he went into Hiroshima or Hiroshima.
Yeah, just right after.
I can't imagine that.
And some of the stuff, he described some of that, and some of it's in the video I shared. And let me show you one more here, Jason. This is the other gentleman. He's still living. This is Mr. Whitney Thompson. He was good friends with Granddaddy. He's our last local World War II veteran. He's now living with his son up in eastern Tennessee. But he has made it over 100. He's turned 100 this last year. And there's a picture of me and him at our Veterans Day event we hold here in town, and got to sit with him on stage. And he's a storyteller, and he's wearing his Humboldt High School Letterman jacket there underneath, and he's proud that he can still wear it. But he's a character, and he is our final World War II veteran from Humboldt. There's one more that we've just learned about that's at our veterans home here now, who just turned 100 in the last couple of months. So, but he's our last local guy here, and that generation is just about gone.
Yes, sir. And I think it's wonderful that you went and you interviewed them, talked to them. I think that's wonderful, and I want to thank you for doing that, because like that gentleman that you spoke with that was there at Hiroshima. I've heard it pronounced both ways.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't imagine what they went through, but without him, we wouldn't have that story. So thank you and you sitting down and talking to him. And, David Pope was still talking about the bullets and about the expanding bullets violated the Geneva Convention. Extreme cold reduces muzzle velocity of firearms projectiles in more than a few GIs, so M1 carbines unable to penetrate the thick coats of the Chinese Communist People's Liberation Army War. Wow. 30 caliber. And let's see. Kyle Thompson said, I just started collecting World War II memorabilia about a year ago. I have a personal letter from Morris Jepson, the guy that named Little Boy before it was dropped on Hiroshima. Wow.
Very neat.
Yes.
It's amazing the stuff's out there. Here's a picture of those two gentlemen, Mr. Dennis and Mr. Thompson, together. That was back in 2022. Them get honored, and they don't want any recognition, but they both sure did enjoy it that day. They had a time. And the band that's behind them, we're in a small chapel that'll seat about 150 crowd in 1897 church chapel downtown. And some stayed there, Magnolia Manor, when they were at the division reunion inside the chapel there. And of course, the full band was really too loud to be inside the sanctuary. And they were just loud. I talked to Mr. Thompson there. I said, "Is it too loud?" And he's like, "Huh? I can't hear anything." I said, "Did it deafen you?" He said, "No, it just finished me out."
Oh, you got to love that
But
sense
you
of humor.
still heard what I said, though.
I tell you, that's wonderful.
Right,
You talked about a sense of humor. And I want to tell everybody to make sure you share this episode. And if you have anything that you'd like to send us, you can send it to scvyouth@gmail.com. And stay around for, on Thursday, look around the Confederation. There's not going to be a commander's comment this Thursday because this is it has some other stuff going on. But so they're going to have a look around Confederation. Make sure you join in, see that show. And if you have anything to send in, send it to SCV Youth Outreach.
Absolutely.
And there's that address if anybody needs it.
Yeah, definitely do that. Well, Jason, it's a little after 8 o'clock now. We're going to kind of do our final things. Again, we thank everybody for watching with us tonight, sharing the video. We know several have shared it, and all the great comments tonight. We do hope you've enjoyed the program and hope you will stay with us through this season. And Jason, some of the things we've got coming up, of course, you've had regular guests that will talk about local things like we're talking tonight. We're also, as we get into this year, it's going to be election time in the Sons of Confederate Veterans, national level and division level. And we'll be having some of those candidates over the next 2 to 3 months. They'll be on with us. So if you're interested in you're running for an office, either reach out to us or we'll be reaching out to you. And we'll try to get those set up, maybe some at the end of January, 1st of February. The local division offices we'll probably do first because I know Moose and Connor kind of want to lead off with the national offices first, I believe, on one of their shows. And then we'll pick up some of those later on, too, and have those gentlemen on with us. So keep that in mind. That's coming up. And if you're interested in being a part of this program, it doesn't necessarily have to be Confederate history you talk about, but if you do a presentation, you've seen some of the other shows, you're welcome to reach out to us, and we'd love to have you and try to get that scheduled and get you on with us on a Tuesday night. And now, Jason, something we need to mention before we kind of wrap up here, one more event, and I'm going to put this one on the screen.
Yes.
Chuck and Tom have sent that to us, and you want to kind of mention the details there.
Yes, sir. They contacted me and they asked me to be their speaker for their General Patrick Claiborne birthday celebration. It is going to be Tuesday, March the 10th. At 6 p.m. at the Veterans Building at the Williamson County Fairgrounds in Lebanon, Tennessee. It's going to be a potluck dinner. The brigade will provide the meat and the drinks. All we have to do is bring a side dish or dessert. And please RSVP by March the 5th and send it to the email address you see on there, woodth25@gmail.com. You see Tom on here. Somebody message him, and if you're interested in coming. And it'll be I think that's something that they have done in the past, but they hadn't done it in a little while, so they wanted to bring it back.
Yeah, going to bring that back. So that's coming up. We also want to mention this is another one you're scheduled to be at the Lee Jackson Banquet for the Jeffrey Forrest Brigade. That's coming up this next weekend. Barry Sowell needs to know now if you're coming to that. He needs to know.
Yes, that is actually,
they're providing food, the meats, and then they want you to bring sides. It's a $5 a head charge, but if you're coming, he needs to know so we can make sure if we're having that or if that's being rescheduled or maybe has to be canceled. But he needs to know if you're able to attend that.
And the event is January 31st, but if you can let him know by the weekend so they'll know how to plan accordingly.
Absolutely. Well, Jason, as we wrap up a conversation we've been asked to talk a little bit about tonight, we're not going to go into great detail about an issue related to Fort Pillow in West Tennessee. A lot of detail tonight, but and I'm going to let you talk some of this. If you still got that pulled up, you want to read from some of that. We've kind of had some email discussion in our committee to talk about basically Fort Pillow now is owned by the state of Tennessee. It's managed by the state of Tennessee. Well, there's a bill that's being put out there for it to fall under the National Park Service and them to take control of it. And we want to kind of give you the facts on what's happening there. My opinion is now we want that to stay under Tennessee control and protect that, but so that narrative doesn't really get changed to make General Forrest something that he was not, and which is part of what that would happen if that went into a federal level under a national park and being managed there that way. So there's a bill that's out there, and Jason, you feel free to talk some more about that. And we're going to have an effort and probably need your help to reach out to your representatives, and we'll be working on that probably the next couple of days to get you more detail to that.
Yes, and referring to HR 926, I've popped it up, Google it, and it talks about it, what it is. And they have, if I'm understanding this correctly, they've tried this multiple times to where they want to take Fort Pillow and make it a national park, which means it would move the control of it from a state-run entity to a federal-run entity.
Yes.
And we all know how that goes. And it is, let me see, it goes into it. And if you look up the bill, you can Google the bill. And it's, well, I'll give you just the first few pieces of it. Fort Pillow was originally built by Confederate troops in 1861 and named after General Gideon Pillow of Murray County, Tennessee. Point number 2, the Battle of Fort Pillow was fought April 12th of 64. Point 3, Confederate forces never defeated the Union Navy. Instead, they perpetrated a heinous massacre after violating a flag of truce by advantageously repositioning rebel troops and by looting government buildings and private storefronts surrounding the fort. That's point number 3.
Yeah. So you see where that is, what that says, where we stand on that. It's best to stay in state control at this time, and we're going to encourage our membership over the next few days. We're working in some details behind the scenes now, and we don't want to speak out of context and out of what we're going to do, but one-click politics is something that's been used in the past, and that's been asked about. So we'll look at that and options to get the information out to our membership, at least over the next couple of days, because time is important that we're watching this. And we'll need you to reach out to your state representatives as well and tell them where you stand.
And I'll talk with Commander Kennedy, see if he wants me to put out a one-click politics on this. There's not going to be a problem with it. I don't think he will. I was going to read point 4.
Yes.
According to the 1864 report, Fort Pillow Massacre. That was the name on the report, Fort Pillow Massacre, from the United States Congress Joint Committee on the Conduct of the War. The officers and men seemed to vie with each other in the devilish work. Men, women, and even children, wherever found, were deliberately shot down, beaten, and hacked with sabers. That was point 4.
Yeah, so you see our urgency and why this is important. We act on this and prevent this from happening. Yes,
so that will be coming up, yes. And there'll be a one-click politics coming out on that. I know that this sounds like a Tennessee issue, and we're going to push it out here, everybody in Tennessee. But we want to remind everybody, if this passes, this goes under federal control, which means it affects everyone. And if you look at some of the people on this commission, where they're from, and that you'll be contacting with their email addresses, California, other states, they'll be determining
what's going to happen,
how this is going to be done. And I think we all just need to get involved with it. And a few other people will agree with that as well. Charles LeRae, that's a very bad idea.
Yes.
Our executive director, thanks for bringing this up. He hadn't heard about it. Derek Glover, federal government doesn't need Fort Pillow, period, train wreck.
You're exactly right.
Yeah, so I want to remind everybody. Go ahead. I'm
Yeah,
sorry to
thanks to Mark Buchanan for spearheading this. He's been watching this and brought it to our attention just as soon as he noticed it came up. So
Mhm.
we appreciate his work on that. And I'm going to speak with him tomorrow, hopefully. And we're going to get a little bit more detail and get it all organized and get it out to the membership, and need you to act on this. And we want to prevent this from happening, do our part to keep it local in Tennessee.
Yep. Obviously so. And I want to thank everybody for that. When this One Click Politics comes out, share it. I mean, you
Yeah.
don't have to be
Yeah.
an SCV member to do this. We all know Confederate Southern minded people, and send it to them, have them make comments on this as well. Because we do know that when we have done things and we've used One Click Politics, that we have gotten their attention when there were 3, 4, 5, 8,000 emails that had been sent. You
Correct.
start to get people's attention. If we only have a couple of hundred people, that's going to hit the file 13 bin. That's just going to be deleted and gone on. But if you will respond, the more responses we have, we end up having water cooler talk is what we end up having. And, it might not, the senator himself might not actually say it, but somebody in his office is going to talk to some other person in another office and go, have you been seeing these emails we've been getting?
Yeah.
And that's when the conversation starts to happen. Yeah.
We'll be watching for that. We'll be putting that out. Jason, been a good show tonight. Been fun. It's glad to be back into the seat again here with a new season of Tennessee Tuesday. We've enjoyed our first, I think, what did we wrap up with 16 episodes? And
I
now
believe
we're
so.
starting number 17 officially there. So season 2, episode 1 underway. And we thank you for watching tonight. Again, TennesseeSCV.org is where you can learn more about the Tennessee Division. And of course, follow us on our different social media platforms, on our Facebook group, as well as the YouTube channel too. And you can keep updated with all stuff happening Tennessee Tuesday. So Jason, time to wrap up. Have yourself a wonderful rest of this evening, and we will be back with you next week.
See everybody next week. Stay Southern.